Folks, how you doing? And welcome into TK Live. It is Thursday, October the 26th. I'm Steven, and I'm down here in the studio with my brother Matthew tonight.
Hey everybody.
And we're going to talk about trucks. So what's TK Live all about? Well, every other week, I think now again it's been 3 weeks since we've done this last. For many reasons.
It's been busy.
We've been traveling, we've been busy, Matt got a new job, all kinds of stuff going on. So it's been a couple weeks, but we like to come down here in the studio and talk about pickup trucks. We like to talk about the latest, what's going on in trucks, all the news that might have come out, recently, and then also talk about what's going on with us here on the channel, and basically try to cover everything in the world of trucks. And there is some news. So we're definitely going to cover it. I'm just realizing, Matt, no one said anything. Can you guys hear us okay? How do we sound? I think I forgot to set something up. I'm worried we might have an echo. Can someone just drop in the comments right now and let us know if we sound okay?
Is the audio okay? Do we sound like robots? Is there an echo? Ho.
Yeah, I hope not. I haven't seen anybody in there yet, but we're watching the chat. Just let us know if you guys can hear us okay. I want to make sure the audio is good. We're always changing things here in the studio, upgrading, and then I forget to plug things in that I probably should have. So, but nobody in there yet, so we'll keep going on. You guys let us know if we sound good. Sound G. Okay, I'm going to take that as sounds good. So I guess we're okay then. Good news. So yeah, Matt, let's dive into the news. The first bit of news, you guys might have seen it on our channel, on a whole bunch of channels, is the new Toyota concept. Toyota at the Tokyo Mobility Show, that's what it's called now.
Oh, that was a cool show.
It's not the auto show anymore, it's Tokyo Mobility. Thanks guys for all chiming in there saying we sound good.
Yep.
Tokyo Mobility Show, Toyota brought out 6 different concepts actually. Some of them were wild. One of them was a lunar rover. One of them was a wheelchair that could go upstairs. Some really neat ideas.
And one of them was the solid state battery that's going to change everything.
Well, we're going to wait and see. But the most exciting thing for us here in North America is a small pickup truck concept that they showed off. Here it is right here. They call it, I believe it's called the EPC, which they didn't say this, but it probably stands for electric pickup. EPU, sorry, electric pickup.
Pickup, yes.
Makes total sense, right? Looking at this thing, it looks like it would be a Ford Maverick competitor. It looks like a proper compact truck. They did offer dimensions, and it is slightly shorter than a Tacoma. They did say it would be unibody. No other real details outside of that. They also said it would be electric, but I think we can also look at this as just sort of a sense for if Toyota made a compact pickup, what would it look like, you know, electric or not.
Yeah.
So it looks pretty cool. It has that futuristic kind of, you know, concept look to it, but it also doesn't look that far from production.
It's not that far from production.
Yeah, to my eyes.
Needs some tweaking on the front end, a little bit, but I mean, like, usually it's the wheels that get me when I'm trying to judge a concept, and the detail in the bed too. It's how much effort did they put in to make this look like it was ready for the road.
Sure.
This one is, you know, 3 degrees away from being real.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. So I think we can look at these designs as something will probably be produced. This is neat, Matt. Can you see sort of at the end, they leave half a tailgate there, sort of as a load stopper, so it looks like the tailgate's split in the middle. That's sort of an interesting idea I've not
flips
seen.
up out of the tailgate.
Yeah, exactly.
Neat.
Just so you know, again, a different idea for another type of load stopper bed. So there's one other picture too. They did offer one of the interior, and check this thing out, Matt. It has a yoke. It does not have a steering wheel. They went with a yoke, which is you know, Toyota or Lexus, I should say, is offering a yoke in a production model, which is pretty wild. Now the interior is kind of sparse. It just has this one big massive screen up there. This to me looks very concept-y. I don't think we'd see exactly this in production, but pretty interesting that they'd even go there.
I don't think truck buyers are ready for a yoke.
No, I would agree with you.
I mean, just look at the backlash of getting rid of the headlight controls in the Chevrolet products and the GM products. I don't think going directly to a yoke is the answer.
That is true. I don't like the idea of the yoke in general. Now, I will say Toyota did the right thing. When you go with the yoke, if we can just talk about this for a second, when you go with the yoke, you have to adjust the steering ratio.
Yeah.
So basically, if the entire steering ratio or the range of steering is all right here in your hands without having to cross over, that's a good thing, and that's what Lexus does. It's a variable steering ratio. So at slow speeds, you don't go hand over hand. If you have a yoke which does go hand over hand, like Tesla had, it's not good because you're grabbing at these square parts of the wheel. It's very awkward. So it's an interesting idea that even go there, but at least Toyota's doing it right with the variable steering ratio. But I agree with you. I don't think pickup truck buyers are probably the right people to test out some new fancy tech. Just give us the steering wheel. So yeah, interesting there that they'd even show off that little truck. Last time Toyota showed us an electric concept, Matt, it was more of a Tacoma-sized truck. Yeah. And the styling on that concept did actually basically come to fruition with the new Tacoma.
The last teasers were the electric FJ and the Tacoma. They came together.
Precisely.
And they do bring them out. And that's the thing. Like when you look at these products, they're not far off. And I mean, like I said, I poked fun at it off the top there, but they also brought out at the Tokyo Mobility Show.
Right.
Tokyo Mobility Show. They also developed, or they threw out this solid state battery. And I mean, it's crazy. The production of it is insane. But I mean, it's promising numbers that are actually going to be able to rival and get rid of those range anxieties. I mean, when you're talking charging times from 10 to 90% of less than 15 to 20 minutes, and you're talking about top ranges of 1,200 kilometers on a single charge, you're getting rid of that range anxiety. You are now competing with your ICE counterparts.
Yeah.
And I mean, if it's real, it's real. And Toyota's not usually the kind of company to be like, look at this amazing thing we can do, and then it never goes anywhere. Toyota's like, we did it. Just wait.
Yeah, fair enough. So that's what we're going to have to see when it lands in production. That is the thing, right? You gotta always wait probably a year at least.
Oh, at least. It's not coming, you know, it'll probably be 25 realistically.
Fair.
And I know when I read the press release, Lexus was, got to get this done for the show, got to get this done for the show. So it was a big push to get that one model there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 25 would even be early, I think. But, I mean, if that's the truth, then it's coming.
Yeah. So here's something else that might be coming. Toyota also showed us this. They're calling this the electric Land Cruiser concept, which, you know, doesn't really look much like a Land Cruiser of today. It looks more like a Range Rover, honestly. I'm not sure how much you could read into this. Again, the only detail they gave us on this Land Cruiser is that it will also be unibody. It will not be body on frame. Outside of that, though, they didn't really say much about it. It's cool looking, man. You know, I don't hate the design. I don't necessarily think it looks much like a Land Cruiser. It doesn't really play up to the heritage whatsoever. But it's an interesting looking vehicle. And the new age of EVs, the one thing you got to get used to is no grills. Every EV's got that big flat face on it, so it's an interesting kind of design quality of all these cars.
And yeah, and it's interesting because you're right. You don't need as much airflow in the front.
Sure.
You still need some
Yeah.
heat for heat pumps, etc. But why not make them aerodynamic? You're talking about a vehicle that's already struggling for range. Why make it fight one more thing like an unaerodynamic front?
Sure.
Like, I mean, you say what you will about Tesla, but when you got that nice little wedge in the front there with the coefficients of drag being minimal. Forgive me, I don't know the numbers off the top of my head.
Sure.
But why not? Why go for the clunky look when you can pick up 12%?
Yeah, well, the same thing the Prius has been doing forever. That wedge look. Finally, they came out with the new Prius and actually managed to make it look good. Yeah, which is amazing.
Shout out to the guys at Throttle House for their Prius review, where they sat there for the first 2 minutes going, I'm not going to say it. Are you going to say it? I'm not going to say it. Are you going to say it? It's cool now.
Yeah, that's fair, man. Yeah, I would say the Prius is pretty cool now. So yeah, there you go. That's the news from Toyota from the Tokyo Mobility Show. The timeline on that small truck, man, obviously we don't know. The way the Maverick is moving in the marketplace, I hope somebody jumps into that market soon. You know, we have rumors of Ram bringing out a small truck. Chevy brought out the new Montana. That's their small truck, which is in Brazil and in South America now. So we know these brands have them, but we're just waiting for them to arrive. Toyota is now teasing us with a small truck.
And Volkswagen is rebirthing
the Scout
International.
brand? No, Scout. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was the International truck.
Correct, but it's going to be branded as Scout.
Yes.
But that's it. They're bringing back Scout, and that will also be all electric, small trucks.
In that same space. Yeah.
So it is exciting. We'll have to see what comes out first from Toyota as all electric. I really think we're going to see an all electric Tacoma. We'll have to wait and see if I'm right, or maybe even a 4Runner. Maybe, especially with the new Land Cruiser in the market, leaves them room to do that with 4Runner. Or maybe put a plug Toyota. I'm so surprised we don't have a plug-in Tacoma yet. Why wouldn't Tacoma Prime work? That would be a great idea, right?
Toyota did tease, and this is out of the truck world, they did tease a new plug-in this week.
Right, but that was like a midsize crossover.
Yeah, but we're not sure what it is. We only saw the first letter is a C, right? So right away, is it a Crown? Is it a Camry? Is it a Corolla? Oh, it could be anything.
Sure. So yeah, there you go. But yeah, I would love a plug-in to Tacoma, and we'll wait and see when they actually bring these things out. All right, well, the next piece of news we can touch on, Matt, is sort of just interesting. It comes from Stellantis. I'm sure as everyone's been following, there's the massive strike going on in the States right now. And that is affecting these companies. And Stellantis actually sort of let us know a little bit behind the curtain to let us know what's going on over there. I'm just going to pull up the statement right now. So, in the statement, Stellantis said, as the costs of the ongoing UAW strike continue to mount, Stellantis has decided to cancel its planned display and all other presentations at the SEMA show and the LA Auto Show as part of its contingency plan. So they're saying that it's costing them so much money, they can't afford to go to the shows.
Wow.
Which is surprising, right? Especially at SEMA. Mopar has always made a big deal of SEMA. They always put together a bunch of unique builds. They already started teasing them this year, which is even worse because they actually probably built them. They're up there somewhere.
Yeah.
But they're not coming to SEMA. So I do wonder how much of this is them actually not being able to afford it, and then how much of it is just a statement to say, we're changing our plans and we're not going to come out with this cool stuff while you guys aren't building cars.
SEMA seems like probable, because you think about the concepts and the amount of man hours and money that go into building that, not to mention shipping, the displays, blah, blah, blah. LA is tough. Because how many other automakers have pulled out of how many other auto shows?
Sure.
At this point in the auto show history, auto show's history,
it's happening with lots of brands.
So is this just the excuse that they needed?
Maybe that's true too.
To just quietly disappear.
To disappear from the auto shows. Yeah, most of the German brands have pulled out of auto shows.
Yeah.
Even at Detroit this year, some of the Japanese brands weren't there, which was pretty tough. The auto show landscape is changing. But this was just, a bit of a surprising statement from Stellantis, just to say, we got no money, we're focused on the strike, We're not going to the shows. And one of them was supposed to be a Ram 2500 Overland concept, which of course would have been cool.
Would have been really cool to see, 100%.
But yeah, there you go. So Stellantis pulls out of the auto shows. So next up, Matt, I want to just talk about midsize off-road trucks, which is such an exciting segment right now. Actually, midsize trucks in general. Of course, we got Colorado and Canyon this year, fully redesigned. And then Tacoma, we've seen it. I've crawled all over it a couple times now, but we still haven't driven it. And same thing with Ford Ranger. We've seen it, we got to sit in it, take a look at it, but we haven't driven it. But still, getting a new Ranger Tacoma and the Chevy or the GM twins all in the same year is awesome. It's so exciting. So we'll start with the GMs because, again, if you've been watching the channel, we've been in all those trucks a lot lately. We went to Palm Springs with Chevrolet to drive the entire ZR2 lineup. And then Dad and Liam just recently went to Montana to drive these trucks. This is the GMC AEV lineup. So it's the Canyon AEV in the center, the Sierra Light Duty is on screen right, and then left is the heavy duty truck. AEV is American Expedition Vehicles. They put the bumpers on there and the skid plates, which are all made of stamped boron steel, which is, yeah, it's extra strong steel.
Cool.
We actually got a really great interview with the owner and founder of AEV. It's in our Canyon review. So if you don't want to watch another Canyon review, that's fine. Go in the video and skip to the interview. It's really interesting. Listen to him talk, because one of the points he made is this boron steel, it's something they've always wanted to use, but if they're just doing a one-off job for you as a customer, it's crazy expensive. So it never made sense. They were like, this is like a dream material, but nobody ever wants to pay, you know, thousands of dollars for skid plates.
It's mass produced.
Exactly. Then they said, now that we've moved into mass production with scale with GM, we're able to do this. So it really actually, the trucks were made better because they're producing them on a mass scale. So that's really cool. Again, the interview is in our Canyon review. Go check that out. But those trucks, if I can just talk about them for a sec, they really are good. The new GM trucks, they focus so much on off-road. 35-inch tires right from the factory on those trucks is amazing. And then here's one of the other things I think really sets it apart. You get the Multimatic suspension. You can see the shock again on screen right, but in the center of your screen, that's the Multimatic jounce damper. So essentially the leaf springs will come up and contact that thing, and it adds an extra shock to the last, you know, couple inches of your travel. And again, it makes a legitimate difference. You basically can't bottom that truck out. Even on really hard hits, I mean, it still hits hard, but essentially you get that soft extra damping right at the bottom. So the Jeep Gladiator Mojave has jounce dampers only in the back, but now the GMs have them all the way around. Again, it's one little thing, but it's something that I think really sets these trucks apart. Yeah, man, we've had lots of seat time in the GMs now. Those are all the positives. Great gear, amazing angles, good clearance. I'll offer one negative on these trucks, which is the powertrain. I'm not a huge fan of the new small turbocharged powertrain.
2.7?
It is I thought it was 2.5 liter.
It could be 2.5. Yeah, that's fair. It's fair.
No, I think you're right. But yeah, 2.7 turbo, you're right. The high output version in these trucks, it's good on road.
Yeah.
My issue is off road. For instance, we were on this really rocky hill in a Canyon AT4X, and without low range, and low range does fix the problem, but not in low range, you just got to dig so far into the pedal to really build up the RPM, build up the turbo boost, and get the power that you need for picking through things. Now, putting it in low solves the issue, but the reason I point it out is because the V6 never felt like it had that problem. In the V6, I wasn't as tempted to go into low range. With the new small turbo, every time we went off-road, I put it in low range right away, because it feels like, yeah, you're so deep into the pedal and so high in the RPM before you can really get it to respond. So that's one sort of complaint I had about it. And then I don't have a great number to put on it, but the fuel economy also hasn't been amazing in our time with these trucks. We were between 13 and 14 liters per 100 with the AT4X on a long road trip. And that wasn't even the AEV with the 35s, that was just the AT4X. So those aren't amazing numbers for a midsize pickup either. And I think that's always the downside of small turbos, is if you drive it nicely, you can get good fuel economy, but if you are digging into that turbo, and we were off-road and we were on the run, so we were using it, yeah, the fuel economy can get bad pretty quickly.
Suffer,
Yeah. Another positive though on the flip side are the interiors. Those interiors were feeling really old in the Canyon Colorado. Now they feel amazing, really nice. The Canyon, they went really crazy and put in this white leather, which is a bold choice for an off-road truck. And again, we spent a week in one, and the door handles, which are like the highest touch areas in the vehicle, are white. They were filthy dirty at the end of the week. Filthy dirty.
I'm not allowed to own a white vehicle.
So white interiors in the off-road truck was a weird choice. I'll say that, but they are gorgeous interiors. White with the red stitching was really, really nice. So, like what GM did with their trucks, now let me quickly pull up this photo right here, because hopefully, again, you saw it on the channel. This video went up just this past week. I got the chance to crawl all over, again, a brand new Toyota Tacoma, a TRD Pro, and a Trail Hunter. That's my friend David Chow, friend of the channel. He runs the Automotive Press YouTube channel. Go check him out. He's an engineer, so he really digs into the details, which I appreciate that about David.
It hard.
So him and I, we did a walk around video on these two trucks. Make sure you check that out on Truck King. But the point being, so man, I got to spend a lot more time with them. Just static. I couldn't drive them. But I'm more excited than ever to drive these Tacomas now. I got to sit in that TRD Pro, just stationary, but to feel that suspension in the seats, the isodynamic seats.
Yeah.
Part of me still thinks it's a bit gimmicky, but then sitting in them going, yeah, you know what, I can see it at 60 miles an hour when you're flying through the desert. It's just one extra layer of keeping your body and your head straight, you know, fixed.
Just that stabilizer.
Exactly. So I can't wait to feel what that's really like. On the downside, you'll see it in this video. I don't know if you watched it, Matt, but when I got in the back seat, the legroom is really bad in the TRD Pro.
He just commented on it.
JC watched the video. That's it. With those isodynamic seats, I didn't bring a tape measure. I wish I did. It was probably 4 to 6 inches of legroom that you lose because of those isodynamic seats. Because it's got that big shock system on the back. And then what's even worse is that it has little air valves for you to actually add air into the shocks. They're right at your knee height. At least they were for me. So if somebody slammed on the brakes, my knee is going to go into this little sharp air valve. It's safe to say the TRD Pro is not a backseat friendly vehicle. Because then we also got into the Trail Hunter, which didn't have the seats, and it was much better. Still not a massive back seat, but better.
Did the Trail Hunter have enough to set it apart from the TRD Pro? This was a question that, I mean, you guys talked about the differences in the video, obviously, but did it have enough to set it apart, in your opinion? Because I know price points, they're fairly similar.
Yeah,
right?
we don't know for sure.
We don't know for sure, but they're going to be in plus or minus $5,000 or something. But like, is there enough in the Trail Hunter to make it worth that? And is it that much different, i.e. so much more overland focused, that you couldn't just take a TRD Pro and make it do all the same stuff?
So I think mostly you could. I think the biggest thing it's going to come down to is the suspension systems.
Yeah.
Because Trail Hunter is Old Man Emu, and that's a OE that Toyota's never worked with. I don't think any production vehicles, as far as I know, have come with Old Man Emu shocks before either. So this is a different direction for them. I expect the Trail Hunter to ride probably stiffer than the TRD Pro. The TRD Pro will probably be a little floatier because the suspension's got to be ready to soak up things at high speed. So I think that'll be the main difference, is the driving characteristic. But it's also impossible for me to say right now because we haven't driven
it. That's fair. Okay, I was just curious.
No, it's a good question. And then let's be totally honest, just the look of the Trail Hunter. That's going to draw some people in. You get the snorkel, you get that big sport bar in the bed, you get some lights.
And you got the shaved bumper in the back for the recovery hooks and stuff too, right?
Exactly. So I think that might be enough to draw people in, because the Trail Hunter, even more than the TRD Pro, looks like an aftermarket truck straight from the dealership, you know? It looks like somebody spent time building it up, right?
Yeah.
But it comes like that. Another neat thing that is the air compressor in the back. And that's in the Trail Hunter, it comes standard. And that's another thing I was laughing about, because I'm like, look, a lot of guys who air down on the trail, that's a super useful feature. A lot of people never air down on the trail, and for them, I don't know, now you just have onboard air in your truck. I'd probably buy some little air tools I could maybe use. You'd be back there blowing out the bed, blowing the leaves out, and then I figure that I could rescue my friends when they get flat tires. I don't know, what else do you think? What do you think about an onboard air compressor? Besides the obvious of filling up your own tires, do you think you'd use it for anything? Or would it sit there unused most of the time? Because that's, I guess, what I'm worried about is, like, for hardcore guys, great. For everyone else, how much do you really need that?
You know what? It's funny talking about onboard accessories that don't get used. Seldom spoken about, but it's out there. Do you own a Honda Odyssey? And in the left rear driver's side corner, is there a vacuum? There is.
I wish I had a vacuum in my
There
house.
is one.
Mine's too old.
But people don't use it. It's
Really?
just there.
That's funny.
There was times where we'd see those vans getting traded in 3, 4, 5 years old now with 200,000 K,
And no one used
and the
Honda vac.
vacuum components are still in the plastic bags from the factory. Like they've just never been used.
Yeah.
It's there, but it's just talking about things that.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of customers, I think that's what the air compressor and the Trail Hunter will be. It's there once in a blue moon you need it, but you just probably don't use it that much.
Exactly.
Other things on that truck that are exciting: 2,400 watts of power now at the back. So again, a pretty legitimate amount of power.
That's a lot of power.
So
yeah.
you can run quite a few things. And that's TRD Pro and Trail Hunter. I believe that's all the hybrid trucks, actually. You have to get the hybrid for that. But that's exciting. And then they are offering the manual, Matt, which is good, but they have changed it because now it's manual only with the naturally aspirated engine, and you can't get that engine in a TRD Pro or a Trail Hunter. So there's no more manual TRD Pro, which is a bit of a bummer. That was one of the exciting things about the last gen or current gen Tacoma, was that you could still get the most fun truck, the TRD Pro, with the most fun transmission, being the manual. So that has changed and gone away, but at least we still have the manual.
They did keep it,
Yeah.
so that's.
We have to give them credit for at least keeping it.
Are the air seats optional in the TRD Pro? I believe so.
I don't know. It's a good question, and I saw that question pop up on the video. I would imagine yes, but I don't think I've heard that.
It's gotta be a
confirmed.
package.
Well, I would actually assume that they are standard, and then you have to remove them.
Ooh.
Yeah, I would almost guarantee you that, because everywhere we've seen them, it says the TRD Pro comes with isodynamic seats. So that would be my guess, is rather than adding them, I bet they come standard and you have to go in and get rid of them.
That's interesting.
Now, if you want the legroom, yeah, tough, you can't get it, but you can go in and lock the isodynamic seats, essentially lock the shock in place, so then they won't actually do any of their bump absorption. So if you don't like the feeling for some reason, you can also just shut them off. Now again, that's like, you have something and then not using it's kind of silly.
Yeah.
You could do that. But will they be, optional, or can you get rid of them? Is a great question, actually. It's one I want to get an answer to. So I will reach out to Toyota and ask, because I'd like to clarify that for sure. So yeah, new Tacoma, very exciting. I talked about the back seat. I haven't even got to the front seat yet, Matt, because not only do you have those shock seats, but you now have a new seating position, and it is way better than before. It's much more upright. You sit much taller in the truck. Very reminiscent of the Tundra. Of course, now Tacoma and Tundra share the same frame and the same interior, basically, so they've really never been as related as they are right now. And that's a good thing when it comes to the front seating position, because the current Tacoma seating position drove me crazy. So there you go. A lot of people, it was fine for them, but for me, I don't know, I never got comfortable in that truck.
I wasn't. I owned one.
I know, and you daily drove it.
I wasn't, writing reviews about it. I wasn't singing its praises. I didn't find it uncomfortable, but...
No, fair, and lots of people don't. Some people don't even notice. They're just like, what are you talking about? And I'm just like, pay attention next time. Your butt's on the floor, your legs are way out in front of you, but you're still looking through the top of the windshield. Like, it just doesn't make sense. The proportions are all wrong. But it's better now. So, the point of this conversation, and we'll get to the Ford Ranger in just a second, but the point of it was to talk about all of these off-road trucks, and then to try to say which one's the best. Well, we can't say that yet because we can't drive the Toyota, we can't drive the Ford. However, when it comes to straight up gear, the GMs are still winning. The GMs still have lockers in the front and rear. The GMs now have factory 35s. The Tacoma does not have those. The GMs have those skid plates, the jounce bumpers. So straight up, just from a content perspective, the GMs beat the Toyota. We'll just have to see, once we get out there, how they both feel, because the hybrid in the Tacoma should make it a monster off the line.
That engine is,
So like my engine issues with the GM should be solved by Toyota with the hybrid. And we also should not have any engine issues with the twin turbo V6 in the Ranger Raptor that's making 400 horsepower. Exactly, that truck, I'll be honest, I think I'm maybe most excited for that truck out of all of these. Because when it comes to off-roading, let's be real, Ford takes it serious. Their products are awesome. Not to say the others aren't, but Ford just has this edge to them, I feel like, more so than the other brands. So I expect the Ranger Raptor to be incredible. It was developed all over the world, mostly in Australia, this new Ranger Raptor, and I think that should help it as well, rather than just being a North American focused product. This thing is meant to go off-road everywhere. And yeah, you know, Ford, they didn't put a V8 in it, but they did the next best thing, right? Twin turbo V6,
Yeah.
mid-size truck, should be an absolute monster. The other thing I'll sing the Ford's praises on is, I haven't, again, driven it, spent a lot of time in it, but when I did get to review that truck, Matt, I sat in the back seat and I was like, geez, this back seat is big. For the mid-size segment, Ford really focused in on that back seat. And actually, I feel like they did that with Maverick too, right?
Yeah.
They brought out Maverick, that's a small compact truck, but the seating space is big. In the front seats, it's quite a bit of space. The back seat was actually bigger than the current Ranger, and now they fixed that with the new Ranger and stretched it out. But I think when it comes to spaciousness in the interior and comfort, Ford might have those things all kind of locked up too. And then, yeah, for the off-roading, I'm just, like I said, that engine's probably going to be amazing. That truck will likely be the quickest and craziest feeling out of all of these. So I think in the which truck I'm most excited for category, I put the Ranger Raptor at the top, TRD Pro right underneath it.
Yep.
But then in the what is the best mid-size off-road truck that I can purchase on October 26, 2023, the answer is outright either a Canyon or a Colorado. Absolutely. Those trucks are so good. They've thrown down the bar, and now the other two have to respond, basically, is the way I'm feeling about the whole segment right now. And GM got a jump on them too, because these trucks have been on the road since the spring, basically.
Yeah, I mean, they're already everywhere versus just being seen.
Exactly, yeah, and we haven't driven them yet.
Does Ford give up their safety like they did with the Bronco to put on the bigger tires?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. It's funny you talk about that. So what Matt is referencing is the wheel blockers on the Ford Bronco and the Ford F-150
that disappear.
They're these steel bars that come in behind your wheel. They were in response to the IIHS small front overlap test. Essentially, they stopped the front wheels from coming into the cab. Well, that's a great piece of safety gear, except yes, once you upgrade to 35s or 37s on the Raptor,
they just take it off.
They just get rid of them because they're going to rub on the bigger tires. The problem is they don't separately crash test those vehicles, so you don't actually know if they're quite as safe as the ratings suggest.
So so if you get in that small front overlap collision, you're going to get a wheel into you.
You know, no guarantees. I wouldn't say that definitively.
Sure,
but
don't sue us.
Yes, exactly.
We don't know what happens, but like, it seems strange that a safety device just gets unbolted.
Correct, and that is definitely less safe. But they know their customers. If you bought a truck with 35s that rubbed from the dealership, that would be a problem too. So. But that's it. So I don't even know if they're on the Ranger. It's a good question because again, that's a worldwide product, so it's a bit different. And even with the styling, right? When you look at the new Ranger, it doesn't look quite as North Americanized, big and bulky as the other trucks do, because it has to sell everywhere. South Africa, Australia, Europe. So it's
pragmatic countries, I dare say.
So it's sort of a more interesting product than the other two because of that, right? Because it has to be sold everywhere. So yeah, mid-size off-roaders, I guess we should just quickly mention the other ones because they're still out there. I mean, Jeep Gladiator did just get updated, so it was nice to see the Gladiator get some updates as well.
Yep.
Not massive things, but basically they took a lot what they just did to the Wrangler and they brought it over to the Gladiator. Nicer interior, bigger screens. The Willys model got updated. The Willys is cool because it's more of a base model off-roader. You get the off-road gear, you get the tires, but you don't have to step up to the Rubicon. So Gladiator is still out there, and Gladiator, Rubicon, and the Mojave are great trucks.
They really are.
Yeah, I don't want to leave them behind either. They really are good off-road trucks. They suffer from that long wheelbase. It's one of their Achilles heels over there with the Gladiator. But off-road, yeah, those trucks are good too.
And they actually tow nicely.
Yeah.
In comparison with their Jeep counterparts.
Fair enough, and that is thankful. That is one of the good things about the wheelbase.
Yes, because anybody that tells you their Jeep tows nicely is lying to you.
But that might change now, Matt. 5,000 pounds on the back of the Wrangler for 2024, full float rear axle. I don't know how much. That's really going to change because that's all about power delivery more than anything.
More than the suspension setup.
Right, so yeah. I'm actually excited. It's a good thing you brought that up too. I'm excited to max tow 5,000 pounds with the Wrangler because you are right. Even when I used to put my Sea-Doo on the back of a Wrangler, it started to get a little sketchy. And then you put like a 2-place snowmobile trailer and it starts to really get sketchy.
I used to disconnect the auto sway bar sometimes on that thing, just because I found when it was on, it was just throwing me around. I'd much rather have the wash. At least it was a little less aggressive on the highway.
That's funny. Yeah, and then of course you have Nissan, who just soldiers on with Frontier Pro 4X. You know, it doesn't feel like Nissan plays in these games of like these really top trim off-roaders.
They don't have to though, man. That truck is solid.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it, but they just feel the most cash strapped right now out of everybody, so they're just not into producing all of these crazy models. Because again, Pro 4X feels more like a competitor to Trail Boss, to Ranger Tremor. There is no new Ranger Tremor yet, but I bet Ranger Tremor will come back. But yeah, Pro 4X just doesn't feel like quite the level of a Raptor, a ZR2, a Bison, an AEV, any of these things. All the other brands, Matt, are just going crazy with off-roading right now. We're getting off-road trims on top of off-road trims.
Yeah.
But that's a good thing. Hey, it's never been a better time to be into off-roading and want to go out and buy a brand new truck.
Just because we just touched on it, what are our thoughts about the Wrangler 4xe? Wrangler 4xe is what I would like to see. We were just talking about Toyota doing. It's like everybody should be doing. Why don't we have plug-ins in all these trucks? And
sure.
I mean, they just, in the newest, was it 24 Wrangler, that got the, and I'm going to butcher the name, the Jeep Power Box?
I think it's called the Power Box.
Is it the Power Box? Yes. The new Power Box option. So you've got this massive battery pack. Let's make it accessible to the guy that wants to use his powered things off-road. Like, it's such a simple concept, but like, you put it in the truck, it saves you fuel, it makes the thing drive a heck of a lot better when you've got that power to turbo lag overlap. It's great. And then when you do get off-road, oh, you can do everything you want. You want to make some toast while charging your phone? You can do it.
Yeah, because you're dragging the big battery with you. And then there's also something to be said for silent off-roading. That was my first experience with that, really, was in the Wrangler 4xe. And I like it, man. Like, I love the roar of a V8, but it's also nice to just roam through the woods silently. So yeah, big fan. But moreover than that, you know, the off-roading experience is fine, but Jeep saw an opportunity. The Wrangler is already a great selling vehicle, and the 4xe quickly became the best-selling plug-in hybrid in America. And I think the biggest reason is, man, a lot of customers showed up to the Jeep dealership, said, I want a Wrangler, and then the Jeep dealer said, oh, by the way, you can get this federal discount if you go and buy the one with the plug. And everyone goes, oh, of course I'm going to do that because I'm saving all this money.
Yep.
So I think also just as a business decision, it was smart, which is why I keep harping on the fact that I can't believe there's not more vehicles with plugs in this space.
Yeah.
I can't believe Ram didn't do this first. I feel like they would have been cleaning up for the same reason. You walk in the Ram dealer, there's the classic, there's the new one. Oh, and if you buy that one with the plug, you get the federal incentive.
Yeah, I mean, right now, you know, here in Ontario, Canada, plug-ins I think are still qualifying for $2,500 to $3,000 off MSRP, or off your taxes anyway. And I think full EVs or full plug-in hybrids are $5,000. So yeah. I mean, it's not small money. It's certainly not, you know, pennies. So why not?
Yeah, it sucks people in. I think it's smart.
Especially if like the feature upgrade is $3,400 and you get a $5,000 incentive. So now you're free incentive plus taking money off the top.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, no, I like the 4xe. I'm a believer in the plug-ins.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that was it for the news. Matt, if you got questions, you can go back up.
Yeah, I'm going to scroll back up a little bit.
I will quickly, I have to talk to Matt H. Because he's been weighing in the comments a bunch lately, telling us how much Dad and I suck and don't work well together. It's nice that you feel that way, but obviously we're not going to stop doing this. So, I mean, just keep watching and keep commenting. We appreciate the comments. Keep them coming on every video.
Every comment means $1 more for us. So if you truly hate us, stop commenting and stop watching.
That's exactly
That's the best way to get back at us.
Yeah. And like, I love TFL, but what job have you ever left and then be like, hey, I'm coming back. And they're like, we'll have you in a minute. Like, give me a break, man. What a dummy. All right, anyways, I just had to throw it out there because Matt keeps on coming up to all our posts. But like I said, yeah, keep commenting. We like the comments.
Yeah, man. Every comment's a buck. I'm into it. I love it.
So we have to back up to Right Lane Hog, I think, Matt, right at the top, because that comment has been in here.
I lost that one, so you got to pull it.
That comment's been here since like this afternoon, so I appreciate that he was on the ball.
Yeah, he was.
So he said, we're waiting for the return of the T100. What the market needs is a right-sized pickup fit to do a day's work and sold at a fair price. I mean, dude, we couldn't agree more with you.
Couldn't.
And the Ford Maverick proved the point that a small, economical pickup truck can work right now. And the thing's selling like crazy. you might not consider it a real truck, but that's a whole different debate.
Yep.
But again, it proved that point. Now, what you're talking about, though, yeah, would be a real body-on-frame pickup truck, a little bit bigger, naturally aspirated, make it simple interior,
Well,
and sell it at a fair price. And I feel like the business case is there, and yet on the flip side, the evidence suggests that it's not. Or maybe the evidence suggests that we are willing to pay crazy amounts of money for our trucks, so why would the companies ever offer us something affordable
Because
when we're buying luxury stuff? So.
there are those diamonds in the rough. You got to know what to look for and how to order them, because they do exist. The how did he phrase it there? The every man's truck, or whatever he called it, the right size.
Right size pickup.
Ram is still building them. Stellantis is still building them.
That's a good point.
You can go out to your local, Ram, I was about to say Ram, Jeep, Dodge. yeah, you can go out to your local dealer, and you can still purchase the classic in a stripped down, say, Outdoorsman or XL or XLT or whatever the bottom trims are, with, no features on them, just add all-wheel drive, maybe a towing package, and you can be out the door in the $30,000 to $40,000 range. Now, yeah, that's still expensive, but when you start comparing it to, I'm just going to harp right on Ford Ranger, Bronco Raptor or Ranger Raptor starting at $141,000 or something ridiculous like that. Forgive me, I'm butchering that one. But
it's so expensive.
Yeah, we're talking about a quarter the cost of these ridiculous pie-in-the-sky vehicles. They do exist. Head over to your local Nissan dealer. King Cab, 4x4 with the V6 in it, stripped out. I'm pretty sure you can get in the low 30,000s. And same as, scale up a little bit, you go to Toyota, you can get a pretty stripped down Tacoma in and around that 40K mark. They are out there. They don't build a lot of them, and you might have to wait months for one to come in, and you're gonna have to argue, you're gonna have to sit there and fight with your sales guy. Because I just had this fight with someone recently, and forgive me, I'm gonna go off topic here for just a moment, everyone. So, I had a fight with a sales guy recently, and it was about a customer coming in, a friend of mine that I knew well, and I bumped into them in the dealer. Hey guys, what are you doing? Oh, we're here to look at a car. Great, what are you looking at? I work at a Hyundai store. We're comparing the Santa Fe and the Tucson. This is a couple, man and woman, one small child. Okay, and I said, that's cool. What are you looking at? The hybrids in both of them. I said, great. Same powertrain in both vehicles. One is heavier, one is more expensive, the other one is less expensive, less heavy. The shocking thing in Hyundai is the Tucson, the smaller vehicle, has more cargo space than the Santa Fe, by the numbers. Not by much, beats it by about 3 cubic feet. But still, equivalent cargo space in these two SUVs. The Santa Fe is taller, has more ground clearance, but I mean, you're never taking it off-road, so what do you care? So I'm standing there talking to my friends in front of the sales guy, and he's like, I don't think you're right. I said, I am right. These are numbers from Hyundai's website. Don't tell me I'm wrong. I said, guys, go drive them both. Obviously, feel it out for yourselves. However, if it's my money, it's $6,000 less for the Tucson. It gets better efficiency in the hybrid version because it's a lighter vehicle. Save $6 grand, better on fuel, exact same amount of storage, all the same features. It's a no-brainer. The Santa Fe, and I said right in front of the sales guy, the Santa Fe is a pointless SUV right now. In the spring, we're getting a new one, all redesigned. That thing will be cool. It looks like a Land Rover Defender.
Yes.
It looks like it's going to be cool.
Right.
Super excited about that. But the current one is pointless. Don't buy it. And so my friends were all jazzed, and off they went. And that sales guy, oh my God, if he could spit venom at me, he would have at that moment. Because I'm sure I just cost him a few bucks. But it was just one of those moments where we're talking about this stuff. You're going to have to go in and sit down with that guy and say, I want this Ram, this Tacoma, this Nissan Frontier, stripped out, this thing, I want to pay that number that it says right there. And they're going to go, great, but we need to add this package. And oh, you know what, if we have one on the lot, it's a little more expensive. No, I want this.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be 8 months, sir. I want this. I'll see you in 8 months. You're going to have to fight them. And it's crap that that's the market we're in.
Yeah.
But stocks are finally coming back up. We're starting to see cars sit on the lots for the first time in 2 years. I'm actually seeing trucks come in with vehicles that are then sitting in the front row for the first time in forever. And people can actually come in and physically look at the new car. It's not like before where they rolled off the truck and they rolled right into the sold row, because they were just going right out the next day. So it's out there, you're going to have to fight for them, they do exist. They might not be what you want, and that's the problem we run into.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You don't have choice at all.
Exactly,
in that market,
exactly.
Right? Very little.
Here's what you get. and oh, I want to add one thing, great, but you're going to have to add package A, package B, and package C to get that one thing you want.
Yeah, and you know what? You mentioned Ram Classic. I'll come back to touch on that. That is such a cool idea that they're still building that old Ram, because that's it. They're able to offer it for pennies compared to a new truck. The tooling's paid for many, many, many years ago.
Exactly.
So it's a smart idea from Ram's perspective. Although one of the things they don't do, Matt, is they make sure the trims are set up in such a way that the base trucks are all the new trucks. You can't get a super basic Ram Classic. You have to step up to, I think, a Bighorn it starts at, and then it goes up from there. So they make sure they build in content, but it is still a really affordable option.
And I mean, Bighorn,
next to a new truck, and it's still the same Henny. That's one of the big sticking points. Like the dealership, the guy at the dealer is going to say, well, there's the old truck, but it's the same 5.7 liter. The numbers didn't change, maybe like 10 horsepower or something.
And even if you're getting into those value packages, right? You got to go online and do a historical month-by-month sales search. 1 month a year, they've got that truck sale. And it's $10,000 off MSRP. You got to time your choices as well. You know, it's one of those things, and especially this time of year. It's late October, coming into November. Next month and into December, what are we going to see? 23 clearouts. Get them out. Get them out. That's when you can go in and argue and say, great, I want that truck. Great, it pays this. Great, I'm not paying that. I'm paying this because you need it off the lot.
Yeah, totally.
So there are deals to be had at the bottom of the market. It's just tough. You have to fight for it because all the guys want is, give me the $100,000 truck. Here, I'm just gonna keep slapping down money that I either have or don't have, as the case may be.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, or my company has, or whatever.
All right, I could yak about this all night. I could literally complain about dealerships the rest of the night. Toyota Grand Highlander or Hyundai Palisade?
Okay, it's a solid question.
It is a solid question.
And I'll just mention it now because we have both of these coming up. We have a Hyundai Palisade book. We're going to compare it to a Mazda CX-90.
That's a good head up.
And we have a Grand Highlander, which we don't have a competitor for yet, but I want to compare it to something.
Grand Highlander is more in the, like, I would say suburban expedition competitor?
No, it's not quite.
It's not quite that big?
Not quite, right?
Okay.
And if you're Toyota, they're going to tell you, well, that's what the Sequoia is for.
Okay,
now,
fair enough.
To your point, to be fair, the Grand Highlander has, I think it's 0.3 inches less third row legroom than a Sequoia, so they're almost the exact same when it comes to legroom.
So it's another pointless SUV.
It's just a big 3-row crossover. Well, no, actually, I like Grand Highlander. I think it makes the Sequoia irrelevant, because who wants a massive SUV with a crappy third row? To me, that's such a big deal, and the Sequoia's third row is horrible.
Anytime Toyota brings an SUV to market, it makes 1 to 2 other of their SUV models irrelevant.
Grand Highlander really feels like they just jammed it in, and then even Land Cruiser showed up, and I keep saying this, how are Land Cruiser and 4Runner going to coexist? Because they seem super similar.
I mean, we're winding the clock back like 10 years now, but we had CHR, RAV4, Highlander, Sequoia, 4Runner.
Yeah, just crossovers and SUVs.
FJ before it went away.
Sure.
And then and then you had all the Lexus battleships, those massive things they built. And it was just at one point like, why? Why do you need 7 options?
Yeah,
especially when 5 of them overlap. Like, not like, oh, okay, yeah, no, it's like complete overlap.
But sorry, back to the question, because like
it's my Hyundai complaint again. I'm sorry.
I know, and we got off topic a bit. But back to the question. Based off what I know now, I'd go Grand Highlander. Again, I just think the third row in that thing is legitimately big, and that's
pricing they're comparable. I think Hyundai might edge it out a little. Might be a little cheaper.
It is a little cheaper, probably. Yeah, I don't have all the numbers, of course, but I like that new Hybrid Max too. The powertrain that's in there, same one coming to the Tacoma, different setup, but same powertrain. So yeah, I would go Grand Highlander for that new powertrain.
The V6 in that Palisade though is a great engine. And it's one of the few engines Hyundai builds that will not explode.
That's good.
If you look after it.
So there you go. So a bit of a mixed bag on that one.
Yes. Yes. A lot of good evenings tonight. Russell, Ontario, Sarnia, a couple other ones. Thank you everybody for tuning in, as always.
Absolutely, guys.
You know what? We appreciate you all being here. You can ask us your questions, anything you'd like to know or you'd just like to chat about. Tell us some fun stuff. One thing we always appreciate, you don't have to donate, you don't have to join, but if you can hit like buttons and fire some hearts at us and stuff, every little bit helps YouTube's algorithm to help us out on the back end. So
That's true.
every little bit helps. If it's just a few keystrokes, we appreciate it. Even just to throw us a thumbs up in the chat always helps.
Yep, all very, very true, man. Every little bit helps.
Can we talk about the screen name, The Real Chunkalunka? I really appreciate your name. It made me laugh when I read it. And you've got a couple questions here that I think we can get to.
Yeah.
The first one, do you think Land Cruiser will only be made in Japan, like the rest of their lineups? Toyota doesn't build a lot in Japan. Electrified products, Prius.
I think Land Cruiser was.
Land Cruiser might be or was originally, but like, I mean, RAV4 and Corolla are built right here in Ontario, Canada.
Sure.
And that's global production, if I'm not mistaken. That's everywhere. So yeah, no, it's possible they'll build them in Japan, but I do believe Toyota farms out a lot of its production at this point. I mean, they're so big they have to.
For the second part though there, do you think it's a better overland rig than a Tundra?
Oh,
talking about the new Land Cruiser. I guess the first thing you got to understand there is they're very different sized vehicles. Tundra is a full-size truck, and the new Land Cruiser, technically worldwide, is known as the Land Cruiser 200, which was always a smaller Land Cruiser. So for us, they're just calling it Land Cruiser. For everyone else around the world, they recognize that North America is getting the small Land Cruiser. So yeah, that's the first thing. It depends on how much stuff you want to bring, how many people you want to bring, as to which platform you go to.
Yeah.
I like Tundra, and the new Land Cruiser looks good. The numbers are pretty decent on the new Land Cruiser. And then it's SUV versus pickup truck. The truck bed gives you more opportunities for customization and cool racks and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you got to build all that stuff up. But so which one is better for overlanding? I think it's hard to say one's just better. It depends on what you want.
Yeah.
They're so different.
Mike says he loved our Ranger Tremor and Colorado ZR2 video. Thank you, Mike. And are you going to have more future truck versus truck videos?
100%,
We
Mike Dog.
have lots of truck versus truck videos. If you scroll back through the catalog.
Also true, yeah. We're always trying to set up comparisons. I think we realize, they offer more information, and you really kind of get a clear picture of what one truck does over another. And then for us, test driving them same day, same conditions, same trails, it shows a lot. Because even doing something a month apart can be kind of tough to remember the minute details. But then, to answer your question more directly, you're going to have more. I'm trying to think what we have planned right now. We have Silverado 2500 High Country versus Ford F250 King Ranch, both with the diesels.
Ooh.
So there's an exciting
That'll be a good one.
Yeah, heavy duty truck comparison. And then we have some other stuff set up coming up. So yes, we're going to do our best. And then all these, Matt, the second we can get a Tacoma, a Ranger, and a ZR2 on our property and compare them, we're going to do that. Sadly, it doesn't feel like that's going to be a thing until the springtime. Tacomas and Rangers have just been slow coming online, so I don't think we'll have access to them until next year. But yes, we're planning as many comparisons as we can. If you have ideas, please leave them in the comments. We're always happy to hear them. We can't make everything happen, though.
I wish I had a stack of newspapers for this one.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that are slow to come online, Mr. Radsmus here says he'd like to talk about how much the Cybertruck sucks. I'm not going to talk about that, but I am going to talk about the fact that they've started to deliver some.
Yeah, they're now out there apparently.
Yep. They are starting to arrive.
I'm sure it's only going to the most fanboy of fanboys to make sure that all the news in the beginning is really positive.
Oh, of course, nothing can, the glorious overlords of Elon can ever be questioned. I mean, he's got to be sitting there laughing because now all of the North American, Japanese automakers are saying, yeah, all right, we'll use your connector. Yeah, all right, we'll use you've already built the network, fine, we'll use your connector.
They won the war, man,
when
it comes to the charging, absolutely. Everyone's going Tesla, and maybe that was their real brilliance in the beginning, was building out the network before anyone else could. Because, maybe you don't love their cars, but you can't deny the brilliance of that, right?
And the supercharging system works well.
Yeah, it's reliable, unlike a lot of the other chargers even we've had experiences with.
Exactly. So, and I think what was the most recent ones? Hyundai's doing it, Toyota's doing it, Ford announced they're going to have one.
Yeah.
Nissan said they're going to, everybody's
done it.
A couple of the big names said they're doing it, and then everybody the dominoes kind of boom, boom, boom down the line.
Yeah, but none of that makes the Cybertruck look good. It's still
no, of course not. The fact that they finally, we've sat here how many shows, and people have asked about it, and we're like, it's never coming, it's never coming. So I must publicly apologize. It showed up.
Yeah, no, actually, Tesla's, that is exactly their history, is overpromise on the delivery, everything shows up late, but it does show up.
Yeah.
Unlike some companies that promise and then the product never even comes to market, that's not Tesla, but Tesla
Fair.
every time overpromises on the time.
Fair. Well,
That's
like,
just classic.
what was the announcement there last week? GM announced that Silverado EV production will be delayed up to 2 years.
Yes.
People had been getting promises of this fall or
Yeah.
this winter.
Yeah, crazy.
So it's crazy how they backpedaled that one.
Do you know one piece of news I just read too, Matt, which you'll be interested in?
Yeah.
Maybe folks saw it, hopefully you did. Last winter, we shot a short where we compared how quickly the F-150 Lightning heated up next to a gas-powered minivan.
Yes.
And in that video, we talked about how the Lightning has a resistance heater,
Yes.
which is sort of the worst type of heater in terms of efficiency.
Least efficient. Yes.
It's like a hairdryer, right?
Yes.
Heats up an element and blows air over it.
Yeah.
For 2024, F-150's got a
pump.
heat pump.
Yeah. I was reading about it.
They upgraded it to a heat pump.
It made sense. They already had it in the Mach-E. Like, it existed. You
Sure.
just needed to adapt it into the F-150.
Yeah, I wonder if it was a packaging thing maybe first, or
Yeah.
maybe they just yet didn't have it ready when they started putting Lightnings together, but
It's
that is
possible.
cool. And again, you can maybe speak to it more, but essentially that should just help with efficiency, right? When you're either heating or cooling. That's correct?
Yes. If for those not familiar with what a heat pump is, it is an air conditioner that can run in reverse. And that's a very stripped down way of saying what it is. But if you're familiar with an air conditioner, it will suck the heat out of the air in your home and dump the hot air outside, essentially using a series of expanding and contracting gases. I'm trying to remember the word that's currently escaping me. Evaporating and condensing, Jesus. And basically the heat pump system can then flip it, and it can steal heat from the exterior of your vehicle, and we're talking even in colder temperatures, even in, some of these systems can work down to -30, -40, depending on how efficient they are. There's still heat out there, even at -40, believe it or not, and it can steal that from the atmosphere, bring it into the cab, and dump it into the cab in a warm, forced air type fashion. So, yes, it is the most efficient because you just have to run one pump. And running a single pump with a series of switching valves is a lot more efficient than, an old baseboard glowing red hot in the corner that you're afraid if it tips over burns your house down.
Got it. So yeah, that was good news. That felt like a natural upgrade, so good to see the Lightning get that. Because it is an unnerving feeling at -20 sitting in your truck, cranking up the heat and watching your range drop. Which will still happen, but
Yes.
hopefully a little slower now.
Yep.
So yeah, what else do we got?
Well, Dan agreed with me. I don't know why Toyota keeps making SUVs. I agree.
Yeah, they're just crowding the marketplace, man.
I'm afraid that this new teaser is the Crown. So they've got the Corolla Cross. At first I thought it was going to be like a Camry Cross, and I was like, that would be dumb.
Yeah.
But then I was like, it could be Crown. It could be a Crown Cross SUV plug-in. And I was like, why? Why would you do that?
Yeah.
But again,
even the Crown itself is a bit of a
is
weird
it useful?
product.
It's a poor man's Lexus.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange product too.
Okay, all right, sorry. I can harp on stupid product decisions all night long. Back to the real Chunkalunka. I just like saying that out loud. Do you guys think the Tundra suffers from build quality issues like I'm assuming you mean panel gaps, gap vent, and things like that?
No.
Not that I've heard of or seen.
And in fact, and I know this isn't the Tundra, but when I was just with David with those Tacoma prototypes, these are prototypes, not even production trucks.
Hand-builts.
He tested the panel gaps and they were really good. Like he said, better than some production cars he tests.
Yeah.
So when it comes to Toyota and that kind of quality, I think they nail it. And I think one of the things I always point to, Matt, is when the Tundra launched, it had turbo issues. We met a guy whose turbocharger exploded after I think it was 1,000 kilometers, something ridiculous.
Yeah.
That was real. That absolutely happened.
There were some growing pains with those turbos. I heard about.
So I don't think anyone can say Toyota's perfect.
No, of course not.
However, it quickly went away. We don't hear about it anymore, and I do think Toyota is a little different in that way. I feel like more so than other brands, they step in and back up their mistakes when they are made.
I worked for them for almost a decade. Toyota fixes the problem and doesn't continue to put the problem in vehicles.
Exactly.
Hyundai engines.
Exactly, man. And the U.S. brands too.
Exactly. The American brands too, where it's
power
just,
shift transmission in the Fords. You know?
my God.
Yeah, where they just kept building them and building them.
What's the newest recall on the 3.5 EcoBoost there? Catastrophic engine failure. No big deal. Whatever. We know it's coming, but we're going to keep selling them.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, to the point, no, I think Tundras are probably are well built and probably even a little bit better well built than some of the other trucks out there. That's the Toyota way.
Yeah. Mr. Jeremy R says he bought a Ram Rebel 1500 a few weeks ago. Good job. That's a great truck.
I saw that. Is that, and it says 2022. Is that a classic? That's what I was wondering. I don't know if they still offer the classic as a Rebel or if you have to get the new truck to get a Rebel. So you can let us know. But yeah, that is a good truck, man. Rebels are cool looking trucks. No
and then JC asks, and Steve, you can talk about this because you spent a lot of time in it.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on all the hard plastic in the Canyon, Colorado, especially considering how much money they want for the top trims?
Yeah, I don't know.
Did they do enough?
Yeah, I can't say it bothered me. I was in the AT4X quite a bit. I think that the plastics are there. I think that all the touch points are soft, so everything you kind of interact with, you don't really feel it as much. Maybe on my knee a little bit, sort of right down on the side of the console. But yeah, I do think they did enough. I don't know. I think they're nice interiors. Again, the white's a questionable choice in the AT4X. But outside of that, I like the interior choice. Or I like the interior design. So yes is the answer. I think they did enough.
Yeah,
but they are very expensive. Crazy expensive. Like the AT4X, keep referencing, cost almost $70,000 in Canada.
Oof.
And they still haven't released AEV pricing, but you got to assume that's 5 to 10, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
So like 75 grand for one of those trucks. It is a lot of money to ask, so the expectations are going to be high, and it better deliver for that much flipping money.
No kidding. No kidding. All right. I mean, we're winding down here as far as the clock goes, but Mr. Dan snuck another one in there. A real chunkalunka, because I wanted to say it one more time. You're welcome. You guys think that the Stout will have any chance of actually being made now that Toyota showcased the small truck in Japan?
Yes. Yeah, I think it's absolutely going to be
Hold
made.
on. Let's clarify here.
Yes.
The Stout is a Toyota product.
Correct.
Not the Scout.
No, Stout.
Okay. Yes, correct. So what you're asking is, will they build the Toyota Stout after Toyota just showed a truck that we think might be the Stout?
Right.
Okay. The question was a little odd. I was maybe getting a little off there. I believe that what we saw might be the Stout.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's probably the early design drawings for, a compact pickup truck to take on the Maverick. Yeah, frankly, I think of all the brands to jump in here, people love small pickup trucks from Toyota and Nissan, right? Yeah. They might not love their big trucks, just that's what the sales numbers suggest, but they love their small trucks. So if any brands are going to jump into small trucks with the strong reputation, Toyota or Nissan, I think, are poised to really take a big chunk out of that market. And I could see a Toyota Stout outselling a Ford Maverick right away.
Oh yeah.
Maybe that wouldn't happen, but I could see that.
On the name alone.
Yeah, just like the Tacoma, outsells the market 2-to-1 basically. I could see them doing the same thing in compact trucks.
And you know what? One of the more frustrating things in that compact truck space is the Santa Cruz, the Hyundai Santa Cruz. It's not a bad product by any stretch.
It's bad timing.
Bad timing? But what's killing me on it is the plug-in hybrid drivetrain from the Santa Fe exists.
Yeah.
And it
Tucson,
is,
because Santa Cruz is Tucson based. But either way, they both have plugins.
Yes, it exists, and it wouldn't take much re-engineering to put it in that truck.
Totally.
And Hyundai has already garnered this respect, say behind Tesla alone, for their electric vehicle production. Ioniq 5, Ioniq 6, and Kona EV, Kia EV6, EV9, EV whatever they're building now. We can't keep them.
Yeah,
they're in, they're out, they're gone. There's people coming from across the country to come pick them up.
It's crazy.
The reservation system is insane. Like, we had one guy back out of a deal, and the car was sat on our lot for like 11 hours, and it was gone. So it's insane. So they're already poised. They have that reputation. They have the tooling. I don't know why they don't make the jump. If they were the first ones to come to market with that small truck, compact truck with a plug-in hybrid drivetrain, I think that would make a killing too. It would give them a usage case to not kill that vehicle too, because the sales numbers on that are not great.
No, and the reason I said bad timing was exactly that. Hyundai showed us the concept for that truck in geez, I can't remember now, 2013, 2014?
Yeah, a long time
A
ago.
long time ago. And anywhere from then until 2023, if they had brought it out, they would have been first to market.
Yeah.
And then they would have been unique in the marketplace. But they had to bring it out the same year Ford brings out the Maverick.
Yeah.
And I do prefer the Maverick as a product. Like, if you're going to build a truck, Ford's a truck company, whereas Hyundai felt like they took a Tucson and put a bed on it. There's more engineering than that, but it feels like that more than the Maverick. So yeah, I just feel bad for Hyundai's timing. And in Canada specifically, they only gave us the top trims. Like, the thing starts at 40 grand and goes up to 50. Here it's sold as a purely luxury product.
And you have to get it with a tonneau cover.
Yeah.
Now they've
All-wheel
even changed that.
drive.
You have to get it with running boards, which is useless.
Yeah, so in Canada we also kind of get screwed even more. If you want that thing, you can only get the top trims. At least in the States there is a base front wheel drive trim. I don't know if anybody buys it, but it's there.
We actually didn't cover it tonight at all, but I have read, and forgive me if I'm not quoting anybody directly, I have just read from multiple automotive sources, that Kia is bringing an electric truck. An electric small truck. It's likely going to be Santa Cruz based. It would just make sense, because that's very Hyundai to do. But it would be interesting to see what they come up with. If they go completely unique and just stick a, an ionic drivetrain underneath it, or if they build on what they already have. Now again, unconfirmed, but several people have reported on it, so there's got to be a little bit of air of truth to it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, rumors.
Yeah.
I just see Dan brought up Subaru would be a brand that could jump in.
Oh, the Baja.
Right? Bring back the Baja.
It was such a weird.
Or the Brat. Call it the Brat.
I went and looked at one. I went and looked at a Baja maybe 3 months ago.
The jump seats in the bed.
And it needed an engine, but the body was really good, and I stood there staring at it, going, I want to resurrect you.
Yeah, it was ahead of its time, the Baja. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like Subaru has a bit of that, ruggedness to it, but would it really sell like a truck? I don't know. And the Baja, I'm sure they look at the original Baja and go, that didn't work out great for us. We don't want to try that again. So as much as I'd like it, I don't think I'm
I mean, they have a pedigree in off-road, for sure.
Sure.
Like, they're, the WRX has been winning rally races for, going on 2 decades.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they have the pedigree, they have the technology, they could make a pretty cool product.
Sure.
But I think, when Subaru has a record sales year, for selling 27 units instead of 25, so it's tough, right? Like, there's only so much you can do in that space.
Sure, fair enough. All right, well, yeah, we are winding down. We can, I think, just get this last question from JC, which is something we talk about all the time, and we could do a whole show on it. Do you think vehicle prices will ever go back down, or are we screwed?
We could talk about it for hours.
And you can pretty much take the word vehicle out of that question, and it applies to life right now, right?
Yeah.
Freaking inflation, gas prices,
groceries,
home heating prices, grocery prices. So yeah, I don't know exactly. I don't have an economics degree, so I can't explain any of these things to you. I think that the market will eventually have to give out, though, a little bit, right? Like, can we continue to go up? We have $150,000 Ford Raptors, or can we afford $200,000 Raptors? I don't know, man. I really don't. But we keep hearing the same thing, which is that they haven't found the ceiling. They keep charging more, and we keep paying. So at what point does the price become too much that we stop paying? I don't know. Or at what point does fuel finally get expensive enough to change buying habits? Because truck sales and fuel sales, you'd think it would make sense. Fuel sales go up, truck sales go down. That's not the way it works. At least not in North America. It's never worked like that yet.
A little bit.
Not
But they're
usually,
fringe. They're fringe.
That's
like, if in the dealership world, when fuel prices spike, I remember this is going back about 2 years now, when we hit $2 in the winter. And all of a sudden, we had about 7 or 8 full-size V8 pickups on the lot, and anything that had a 4-cylinder in it, we couldn't keep it.
Sure, fair enough. No, of course, there's going to be some anecdotal people running in and saying that, but the overall trends usually don't follow.
No.
Because I just don't think we've hit the number in North America yet where people are really willing to change what they're going to buy.
I did.
Well, that's good.
$2 electric scooter.
Electric scooter.
I was done. $2 gas, I'm done. I got an electric scooter.
Fair enough. So yeah, I don't have an answer to this question, but just to say that I feel like it has to give out eventually. When will it give out? When will it change? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't. So yeah, there you go, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in.
The Baja is badass.
Baja's awesome. Yeah, we'll try to get back down to the basement in the next 2 weeks. What do we have coming up? I guess I should touch on that too. something really cool next week, Matt. So Dad, me, and Liam, we're going to Texas to compete in the Land Rover Defender Trophy Cup. It's essentially an off-road competition. We're going to have a Land Rover Defender. We're going to be driving through the woods, navigating with a topographical map and a compass, no nav systems. We're going to be running, finding checkpoints. Apparently we have to cycle a short distance. Who knows how short it's going to be.
That's why they're bringing Liam.
Yeah, exactly. So if you want to watch a video of Dad and I dying on bicycles and running through the woods, just panting the whole time, that's what it's going to be. But it sounds fun. It's something different from our typical off-road stuff. It'll be more of a competition, so that's cool. We will be at the LA Auto Show in November, talking about auto shows. Actually, Hyundai is bringing us down to see the new Santa Fe. I don't know if it's going to be just the Santa Fe, if we're going to drive it. I'm actually kind of hoping maybe they'll reveal an off-road trim for the Santa Fe, because I feel like they've already seen it. Maybe they'll come out and say, here's the Santa Fe, I don't know what Hyundai will call it, but we'll see, you know.
It's gonna get an urban edition.
Maybe.
And that'll be the most they do.
But anyways, so we'll be in LA to see the Hyundai.
Maybe you'll see EV or Kia Ioniq 7. I would love to see Ioniq 7.
I really don't know yet, but that'll be cool at least to be at the auto show.
Yeah.
And then lots of trucks coming up, and then at the end of the year we're getting into Truck of the Year season. So pretty soon we'll start releasing videos talking about all the trucks we've tested, what is up for 2024 Truck of the Year, and then hopefully first week of January we'll release it. And yeah, Matt, it's crazy to think we're almost at the end of the year already.
Yep. And we are 1 year away from the global, or at least the North American EPA fuel economy deadline.
True.
So there is that last minute push, and it's coming.
Well, hence the reason Hellcats went away.
Yeah, Hellcat died.
TRX died. It's all sad.
All V8s have essentially, except the Hemi. The Hemi will be in production until December 30th of 2024. I'm calling it.
The last day possible. Alright guys, yeah, that's it for this one. Finally, if you ever do have questions, you can reach out over email, hey@truckking.ca, HEY. Ask us your questions, ask us what you should buy, and we'll do our best to answer it on the next live stream.
Yep.
Thanks so much for tuning in and all your questions.
Have a good night, everybody.